We're live. We made it. Episode 19? I know. The Untitled Personal Podcast Project is a little bit of a personal podcast project that I and a couple of my amazing friends have decided to do every Wednesday night. At least that's what we say. Where we talk about the things that are going on in our social feed, in current events. We talk about how, Bernie Sanders getting dicked by a Democratic wait, what? Things like that. We gather around with our diverse political, social, and sometimes economic views to just kind of blah. That's what we do. We just word vomit on some video and entertain each other a bit.
Is it a therapy session for you?
Yeah. So tell me about how. Tell me where on the doll did Hillary Clinton last year?
My uterus.
No, that would be a Ted Cruz thing. I think Ted Cruz got his hands all up in there. We're joined with Brian.
Hello. How are things?
A host of the podcast I listen to all the time and never remember the whole title to the show.
There's no time to explain.
Oh, well, what's it called?
There's no time to explain.
Well, no, that's fine, but right now you've got enough time.
I do.
Yeah, so what is it?
There's no time to explain with Brian Parra is title of the podcast, and it's just because I didn't want to put a lot of thought into some other name.
Yeah, that's never happened to me before to try to figure out the name. Something that has to now be shortened to UP3, kind of.
Right, I like it.
We're the U2 cover band, UP3. We've got Matt Meisenheimer, longtime friend, second or third time caller. Welcome back.
Hey, how's it going? I am alive.
It seems like as the episodes progress, I think you're being attacked. You're being slowly invaded by the boxes behind you.
Yeah, I am. I've tried to clear this place out, and it just doesn't work.
It just doubles, it multiplies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like rabbits.
Yeah. So before the show, we were talking about. I mean, this is the 19th episode. So by now, next week we'll have done 40 hours of this back and forth together, and we were talking a little bit about the consistency and how life sometimes has its way of just creeping in on you and just making things seem like chores. So making fun things seem like chores. As the guy turned his hobby into a business, and then I'm like, oh, hey, what other fun things can I turn into a kind of work? But it's fun. We get a chance to kind of, at least for me, I get a chance to kind of just regurgitate all the political, social, just things that go through my head with other like and different-minded individuals. But on that consistency thing, Brian, you are on episode number 9?
You're going to ask me about consistency the first week that I put out an episode late. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Episode 9. I've been trying to get them out Thursday or Friday, and this week it went through the weekend and went out yesterday. So, I've been trying, and I realized that it was Thursday evening, and I did this calculation in my head. It's I really should sit down and work on that. But nobody's listening. Who cares if it's out a couple days late? Nobody's gonna kill me. And who am I trying to? It's not like a homework assignment, right? Where there's some grade for it. It just came out on Tuesday after 4 days later. So, that's.
Well, and I think that is the thing that keeps this going for me. It always comes around. We do this Wednesday night, and it's live. It's not like. It's we don't pre-record and then edit down and release it later, and that's just out of the show. That's just how it works. It's just a lot easier that way because editing, as you've pointed out in the last episode, it takes you 4 hours to get that 1 hour
At least,
episode
yeah.
out. And I've tried to do other renditions of this before, where there was video and we did all these cool animations, and then it just turned into this very long production. Like, why am I not getting paid millions of dollars for this?
Right.
That's what people on TV are getting paid. And we, even before this, we were talking about, there are late night talk show hosts. Think of like the Jimmy Fallons, or like the daytime talk show hosts,
Right.
Ellen. Like, every day they have to show up, and they have to. It's not like they could just call up a friend and say, "Hey man, I'm not going to go to work today. Can you go in and fill in for me?" There's like, advertisers are counting on the ratings and the views that you bring to the table.
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, Stephen Colbert was on, and he had just the worst cold. He was being attacked, and he was hopped up on every kind of medication. And I kind of wonder if they get to choose who their guests are going to be, people that they can actually play off of, so they can do like these hard cuts, so they can go off into these coughing fits, because we all have that coughing fit. You get
Right.
sick, and you just like the non-stop coughing, and so I wonder if you get to choose your guests, or how that works, where you can go off the break, and your guests will just sit there and talk to themselves, or you go off on a 15-minute cough break, come right back to what you were talking about, and so consistency. It's a rough thing. It's not the title of the show by any means. There's no. We have no solutions to consistency. We just do it. The Nike approach. So let's talk a little bit about movie draft. You guys did not see the movies. Wait,
No.
I didn't ask you this before the show. No, you haven't seen the movies. I was really dying to see My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2. That was
Really?
Oh man, I was so looking forward to it. I 10 years I've been waiting to see what happens, the rest of that story. But anyway, Matt is on the board. He's the only one on the board actually for the next 2 weeks. He's got Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. As of today, domestic box office gross is $193 million, 193.2. That's good. It's not Star Wars opening weekend good, but
Oh, is that the bar though? I mean, come on.
That's a pretty high bar.
It's the best. It's the highest, right?
Yeah. Nice try, Batman versus Superman. No, they got that, and My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2 is currently at 22.1 million. Which puts Matt at $215.3 million,
Right.
ready to go, waiting for Barbershop: The Next Cut to really kind of. That'll put you on the board, Brian.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
I know. Yes, I'm very excited. I should go see that just out of solidarity with you.
Yes.
You know what I did see yesterday, and this is surprisingly good. And it came out before our draft, but I took the kids to go see Zootopia. Have you guys seen that?
I have
heard it
not.
was good.
Did you
not.
just think it was like a dumb movie about animals, like anthropomorphic animals?
I honestly didn't even know what it was until
What it was? Oh my God.
NPR talked about it and said it's like, this is a big opener, like it made a lot of money on opening weekend, and everyone
But they
went
didn't
to go
talk
see
about it, actually. So here's what I was like, oh, big dumb anthropomorphic animal movie, right?
Right.
It is a pretty heavy an allegory about race and fear politics and prejudice. I was not expecting that, and I was really taken in with their take on. They make a lot. There's a lot of sort of inferred racial jokes and situations that. I don't know. It was much more political than I was expecting out of.
Are you sure
Disney
you're
movie.
not projecting?
No, it was plain as day. The idea that there's a government conspiracy to portray predators as dangerous, carnivores as dangerous animals, playing into fears of the former prey animals. was really good. And there
Yeah.
was even like a scene where somebody was like touching the sheep's hair to see how it felt, because they had never touched that kind of hair before. It was pretty clear that there was a racial allegory, and pretty great along the way.
So what is throughout high school, maybe a little bit after high school, they had like the Shrek movies. So it was interesting how they built kid movies and then hid some humor in it for adults to kind of like, okay, cool, this will get me through. And it seems now, what was the last one? Inside Out, with all the emotions inside, and people were saying that was such a heavy movie to watch, and I still haven't watched that. It's a mood thing. I'll have to get in the mood and be like, you know what, I'll go ahead and watch that. But it seems like they're moving away from the comedy and going straight for that psychology. Like,
I mean, there was plenty of comedy. It was just very thinly veiled racial commentary. Great. I mean, it was really good, but there was like a level for the kids, a very simple sort of morality story, and then a complete shot at adults. So I don't know. Good. I mean, I know I saw it because I had kids, and I was like, what else am I going to do on Discount Tuesday? But I was thoroughly impressed. But again, what was the cutoff for our movie draft here? What was the start date on that?
Start date's 3/25, so last Friday.
Yeah, it would have come out before that. Mm-hmm.
So no, last Friday, and we're going to push all the way through with a strong ender of Mechanic 2 Resurrection. Really looking forward to cleaning up August with that. And of course, Matt has that one. In fact, I don't think there's anything Matt doesn't have. I just put the other names in there to make everyone else feel
right.
Like they were allowed to play. Matt, it's pretty much the Matt and Brian show until May. That's you two are head to head.
Is this domestic opening weekend, or is it the complete
domestic gross the whole way through? So
okay.
So like Mechanic, we give Mechanic about 3 weeks. We give everything about 3 weeks. That's about when things start to fall off and new movies start cycling in.
Yeah.
So or they get into the cheap theaters. So there's the $3 movie days really aren't going to make that dent. But yeah, so we'll see. I think it's going to start getting a little bit more interesting around May when you got your Captain America's coming out, Alice in Wonderland's, the X-Men. I mean, that's all in May. May is a big month. June, I rewatched over the weekend. I rewatched Now You See Me. Did you guys ever see the first one? It's all right. If you like any of the people in the cast, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, and others et al. Then you'll like it because it's basically all their typecast characters in a movie about magic. So I would recommend it, especially before seeing the second one, because that might be a little confusing. So that's cool. Yeah, movies. So you saw Zootopia, Matt. Have you seen any movies still since we last started? I think the last movie you saw in the theater was Batman Forever. In the 90s.
Like yeah, it's been a long time. It's like for 6 years straight, I was gone for 14 hours a day, 12 to 14 hours a day, every day.
Oh, doing the work
working
thing.
in Burbank or working in
commuting.
And then commuting. So.
What about TV? Like, how are you guys watching anything with TV? Are you finishing up anything? Starting anything new?
I just finished up House of Cards.
Oh, me too.
They just released season 4, I think, recently, and I just finished it. It's pretty good.
Brian, are you watching House of Cards at all?
Yeah, finished House of Cards. I just started Daredevil, and have been really sucked into it. As a matter of fact, I think I've got the finale of season 1 tonight. I started about a week ago, and it's keeping my attention, which is rare. I usually hop between 3 or 4 different things, and that one's been solid.
So I've only got to episode 3 of Daredevil from this first season. I thought I was farther, but then I went back and started watching, and I need to start over. So it's rough. It's rough. I think the nerd in me is just they're superheroed out, where it's just I've been inundated with 15 Avenger movies, and so now here I am again, and I tried the Agents of Shield, and that didn't last for I got maybe I got more than halfway through the first season, and then I just copped out. But Daredevil, what's my inspiration to keep watching that? Because everybody keeps telling, oh, it's great, you're gonna love that hotel scene, and I've just I don't know, I just can't follow for some reason.
It's better than Arrow. Have you seen that? Or is it? It's called, but that's horrible. It's better than that show.
Well, and isn't Arrow crossing over with someone else?
Flash.
Yeah, right.
Oh, but this is all on the CW. I mean, right? This is watered down stuff. Like, I mean, the thing I guess I appreciate about Daredevil and Jessica Jones, which I really, really liked, is that they're very adult, right? It's like a very gritty take on the superhero thing, and it's not like, you know, teeny television kind of stuff. I don't know. I've like sort of watched
Supergirl.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm not even into that superhero stuff. I just, you know, if this were, I think I would watch Daredevil even if it wasn't some. It's a really great story. I think, and that's why I'm kind of sucked into it. The characters are good, and even complicated. Like Vinny, who's one of my favorite actors, Vincent D'Onofrio, as the bad guy, he's very complex. He's not simple. He's not just evil. You see a lot of his backstory. You know what I mean? His insecurities are on parade. It's like I said, it's gripping stuff. I really like how complex it is.
Yeah, I need that. I think that's kind of why I go toward documentaries and science shows, where I need to have, there needs to be some kind of structure involved in kind of setting up the. I don't like things just handed to me. I want to be able to kind of follow along, which people keep telling me to watch True Detective for that reason. Where you get that complex, dark combination of the two characters. Not so much about the second season. I heard worse things about the second season than I did about the first season. But I just can't. I think there's the throwaway shows you can kind of throw up in the back, like Dr. Ken. That's kind of our throwaway show. Or Ken Jun from Community.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? He's got a TV show, and it's just it's that laugh track kind of walk in, walk out show, and then next week it's as if nothing ever happened kind of thing.
Right.
So I don't know. I watch a lot of old documentaries. I'm trying to see about any new shows that I don't know. Should I give Daredevil? Basically, what you're saying is give Daredevil a chance.
Pick up another episode. Watch it again. I mean, how long has it been since you walked off it?
I just started watching it again like last week, so I'm about a week out of the last the third episode of the first season.
I used to just roll through a whole season all at once over the course of a week, watch every single episode or something like that. And now I'm trying to I'm trying to not just watch episode after episode like binge watching, but rather get right now I'm watching Bosch on Amazon and Daredevil, and I'll just go between them, and it sort of slows the pace down, gives me something to anticipate, and you know what I mean? If you watch a show a week as if it were an actual television show, it might, you know what I mean? It might change the how it's hitting you. You know what I mean? Keep the thing up, and I don't know, but it's all about your own taste. You know what I mean? I
want you to tell me what I have to like. Must see TV, Brian.
Right.
Yeah, I've always found some roundabout way, we'll say, to watch television shows, and it's always been in a format where I can. Lost. I didn't get into Lost until season 5 was already out, so I didn't have to wait and see what the black smoke was. I didn't have to wait, months to figure out that it was even black smoke. Did I just spoiler alert a show that's been out for 10 years? So Yeah, so the idea of sitting around and waiting, that whole Netflix and whatever you do when you watch Netflix, some people don't chill. Some people just hang out. I didn't know for the longest time, as on the internet as I am, I did not know for the longest time that it meant to have sex. So I was kind of like, oh, we're just gonna go have Netflix and chill. You know, I'd tell everybody that. I told the Somas Market, we went there and got burritos, and like, oh, I was gonna go on Netflix and chill, you know, and then Beth is she gave me the look. Why are you telling people? Like, all right. Isn't that what people do? Don't they? If it's a rainy day outside, you just want to go inside.
Well, it's one of those things that was like it meant that, and then it slowly gained the other meaning as people like, oh, I know what that means, right?
Yeah.
And I hate that because as a teacher in front of kids, I want to use the word chill all the time, like as in you guys need to chill. And now that word has been robbed of me because if I say it, it evokes laughter or snickering amongst the students. It's obnoxious that I can't use one of my favorite words.
Because it just it spirals downhill.
Right, because now it has that other meaning that's attached to it.
So as the resident father of fairly young children, I guess maybe, but you're also a substitute teacher, so this might be it. But terminology that you find, do you find yourself exposed to this weird new terminology that kids throw around, make you feel old? Have you ever heard of like that? That's fleek.
Yeah. No, I get mostly it's because I'm fairly literate on the web. I am exposed to that kind of stuff, but on the other hand, I don't even understand what fleek means. I guess I know what it means. Where does it come from?
Yeah, like how does this stuff? Maybe our generation regurgitated the '70s words, '60s and '70s. Like we had
Absolutely
cool and dude and I don't know, rad. People didn't really say that. I guess that's more of an '80s. That's gonna die in the '80s.
I said rad.
I still say rad.
That's rad.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Show's over, guys. Greg I hit a nerve. We can talk about religion and politics, but don't you dare touch my rad. I think I'm just gonna let that kind of sit. Well, okay, this Bye Felicia thing. That's something that came up. I had never knew what that was, and apparently that was from our '90s days. It never made sense to me when people said it, but now it's like this thing that people are saying, like kids say it now, and they don't even know. They don't know. They know less than I do, and they still say it. And I don't like emojis. This is my old curmudgeon coming out. Emojis as a whole. There's nothing worse than on my. I just emoticons. Give me a smiley face. Give me a smiley face with a tongue, and give me a frown face. And maybe every so often, you have a sad face, a little semicolon. This whole. I think what it is that my enter key on my keyboard on this Android keyboard that I use, if you hit it twice, it pops up all these emojis, and then you so you're trying to backspace, but I fat finger the backspace. So I'm hitting this emoji thing that's on the enter key, and it's like happy face, poop emoji. It's like, why are these useful? Who sits around and translates what these things are? They don't make any sense to me. And why are there so many of them? And there's people who are just they're on point. You send them something, you have like 10 different emojis that they've already planned out, and it makes a whole phrase that if you translated it, it's like, how is this effective communication?
Well,
you use emojis on a regular basis?
I do, but it's the English major in me that wants to address this, which is that language is never formalized, right? It's always it's always fluid. It's always being used, and as you find yourself in what do we call discrete sections of people if you're in a group of people that has some sort of definition, be it by race or by social group or by even from family group, from family to family, our brains that are sort of coming up with ways to communicate are constantly looking for new ways to combine words. And when you get a group of people that communicate inside that group, the language will always splinter and take off. And it's the same thing as an inside joke. You get a group of friends together, the inside jokes become rampant to where maybe a year or two down the road, if there's a new person in the group, they have to play catch up. You know what I mean? To even understand what is being said, and that's all a process of language. And so,
so you're trying to make a case that the poop emoji and the flamenco dancer emoji,
yes,
and the horn, and maybe that's
if it's available. If it's available, it will get used, and the human mind, whatever software runs our language acquisition, it's a very fluid and adaptive program, and it almost adapts for no reason. So when you say things like efficient, those things almost have no meaning when it comes to language. It's not about efficiency. It's about did you say the thing that gets you understood to the people, the small group of people that you're communicating with? There's this idea that language is set, right, and there's some right and wrong way to speak, and it's just not. It's not the case. It's just that I don't know.
Shouldn't you be more responsible in your communication? It's like there is a right and wrong way to speak. The wrong way is the you didn't communicate. I don't know.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. And the answer is, well, but there's two people, and both of them have a fluid understanding, not only of words that are being used, but what is being intended in those words. And there's always some wiggle room. If I use some idiom that you've never heard before, like I don't know. I can't even think of one. But I'm saying if I
think you need an emoji.
Right.
An emoji to help you think of that one. I'm totally derailing.
I don't even
know. So basically, I'm just going to use the drink emoji every time. Like it could be whatever, and it's just time to drink. Life is a drinking game.
Cheers. It could mean 10-4.
What's your most used emoji then?
That looks infected.
Yes. Well, and then there's the subtleties in the eyes. There's 50 different smiley faces.
Oh my God!
And the eyes are different.
That's so funny you say that. The sad face emoji on Verizon it doesn't look sad to me. It looks like eye roll to me. And I don't know if and so when one of my kids uses it to me like sad face, I don't see it as sad face. I see
you ground him for it.
Annoyed. Well, no, it looks annoyed to me, and so I don't like it because it's not sad, but it has nothing to do with the character. My kid typed, parentheses, colon or colon parentheses, whatever it is, but the picture that comes across to me, it looks like it's rolling its eyes. And that's just my interpretation of the face. And so even after I learned, oh no, that's just sad emoji, it looks annoyed to me, and I still get the annoyed vibe, and I'm like, no wait, she just meant sad emoji. So there's like implied emotions even from the faces themselves have nothing to do with the intended sender. Oh look, I almost knocked over my drink here. Getting animated.
We can pause the show. It's cool.
I want to find it now.
Man. That's something I rewatched this weekend. Is Big Lebowski. Yeah. There's that. No, but the idea of having to get real close to my phone and go okay, and then select the emojis. I mean, there are people that are highly skilled individuals and they know swipe up 2 times, swipe right 10 times gives you this emoji, and they're fast. I'll give them that.
Where can I get an emoji that looks like this?
Well, okay. So did you know that emojis? There's a board of people on the emoji board who decide what gets distributed through. There's I think a Saudi prince is on this board, and you have to be selected. It's like it's a society of emoji choosers.
Wow.
The emoji board game. No, I can't pull it up right now. Of course, because that's just how Google is. Now search is all specific. You type an emoji. There apparently is an emoji board game now. Look what we've done with an emoji board game.
You know what happened last week is that Verizon updated their text message program, and in it came all of the emojis that I use. I don't even know if what I'm using is proper emojis. I think that there are emojis that you get from typing text, and then everybody, Apple and Samsung and Motorola, they all have specific emojis that come inside the program. So it being the first time that I used this after it updated the evening prior, I went to go do a hands up, which I do all the time. That's my standard, like, I agree with you, but I really don't feel like responding right now. If you ever get a hands up, it means, like, yes, but I don't want to talk about it. Thumbs up. So I went to go press the thumbs up, and it asked me what shade, skin tone, hand that I wanted to project. So I literally had to, like, hold up my own thumbs up and, like, run it. I had 5 different options for skin tone on the hand. I was like, this one? I went with the middle one because it wasn't dark, but there was 2 more shades of brown that I could have went with, and it was a moment that I noted. I was like, I have to decide what color thumbs up do I want to represent me in this conversation with my wife, who, by the way, knows what color my hand is. Doesn't need my cell phone to represent it for her.
Well, there's a topic that I wanted to talk about that kind of is a good segue there, is this whole PC thing, and I think it's in the conversation. We got Donald Trump running for president, so obviously PC is real big, and I for a long time, I think that there's that cop out argument. It's just like, just don't be a dick. Okay, great. Well, that's always been the case. Don't be a dick, and as time goes on, there's various ramifications for the level of dick that you are to people. And however, I think that now we're getting into things where we're talking about safe zones and colleges and universities, and everything is just another level of offensive. You make that one step up, and now you've got 8 categories that you have to go over to include as well on that level. And at what point is it done? At what point can we just know that, okay, just don't be a dick, and if someone says something, we don't have to go up in arms about it. That person's just a dick, and you just move on. And then you can't even say that because now you're subjugating men, because why is it a bad thing to be a dick? You can't be a pussy now because you can't. That's a bad thing. Why does that mean that you're weak? Because it's so everything has this like second and tertiary meaning to it, and Brian, you're the resident liberal here. You are unabashedly liberal. So
I am liberal.
Speak for us.
I hate this as much as anybody. I'm so annoyed with this ultra. I hesitate to call it liberal because I feel like it's ignorant in some way. I mean, if I were to go back to the definition of liberal, it's understanding that there are different ways of doing things, approaching things with an open mind, and yet that kind of sort of first definition is the only definition of any word, and anything you say is such a closed-minded attitude. I don't think it is liberal. I think it's people just finding out of new ways of being dicks.
I think
is.
As time goes on.
Yeah,
related to party, though, it is kind of on the liberal side.
Oh,
and I
you're
only
right.
think that because I think the Democrats have gotten addicted to the easy votes that they get through division politics. Like, you make sure that some group feels like they've been oppressed, and then you say, we're gonna, represent you, we're gonna fight for you. Whereas those people wouldn't have been on your team otherwise if they didn't feel like they were being singled out or being picked on. And I don't think a lot of people... I mean, I honestly don't run into racism. Like, at least not harmful racism.
Says
maybe
the white
playful
guy.
jokes. I know, but really, I mean,
Even what I just
never
said was a little
known
racist.
somebody.
In that
And I've never known anybody that didn't give somebody else a fair shake one-on-one just because of a difference of race.
But I think that is where it is. Is that I think that there is a line somewhere. I don't know what it is. I just know we're past it now, where words do matter. Where if you are perpetuating this language, or you're perpetuating this stereotype, or whatever that might be, by continuing to recreate it, by feeding into it, by calling someone, oh, you're such a pussy, and like you don't say that anymore. These are things that we said in high school,
Right.
and amongst other things that you just don't say anymore. You can't now. There's a comedian who was talking. I think it was Louis C.K. If you ever want anyone to give you like the rundown on PC and how things have changed for that, he's like the words didn't mean that then. They didn't. When you said fag, it didn't mean anything, but you were just being a fag. It had nothing to do with you being gay or anything like that. He's like, that guy's just being a fag. And now we're at a point where that's kind of the N-word. You can't. You go out and say that. It makes me cringe even to say it right now. Like, oh man, people are gonna tune into this right at this timestamp, and I'm just gonna be, I'm gonna be saying pussy and fag all in one point. But that's the thing. It's I think, where is that line? Because that's a line. That's a line that, like I said, I feel even a little uncomfortable saying it myself.
Right.
At what point is it like where is the line? Where at what point is it just, is there not a war on Christmas, for instance? Like, you can't say Happy Holidays anymore because now it's like, Happy Holidays. You said keep Christ in Christmas and all of this. There's a line, right?
Yeah, and there's a war on language, I think, and it's just being exploited by politicians, really, and the media.
But you don't think that, you don't think that there are people that genuinely, do you think it's politicians and media who made fag a bad thing to say?
I'll just say no. I think that here's what I think, and if this underlies all of it, there is this idea that words betray our true meaning. That if you can sort of interpret the language of people, there is in there some essence of their soul to be found, right? And I'm an English major. You know what I mean? The idea that you interpret language to get at meaning is my bread and butter. The issue is that all of this interpretation, all of this, let's dive into the words, we're talking about literature. We're talking about poetry. We're talking about interpreting the words of people who are masters at using language to create literature and poetry, right? Your average person says 1,000 words a day that he doesn't even think twice about, right? If you want to talk to me about, looking at the second and third and fourth definitions of words and the subtle forms of meaning in Shakespeare or Christopher Marlowe or, Dickens or even somebody as deliberate as Christopher Hitchens or Dawkins, you're talking about writers, right? That's where all this thing is, this whole interpreting language thing, subtle meaning, shades of insinuation. Yeah, that's a really fucking great thing. But what you get is interpreting language with that critical eye to people who have never thought about any of this before. Sometimes by people that don't even use the language well. You know what I mean? If you're gonna use subtle trigger warnings, or you said this, or my favorite, and by favorite I mean the one I hate the most, is what do you mean you people, right? It's like, come on.
Yeah, take an Adam Sandler movie out of it, right?
It's just dumb, and to be so critical it's like, I feel it's not being fair, right? You're not being fair. You have to acknowledge that everybody in everyday life, in their regular plain spoken English, we are not all mastersmiths of the English language. You know, if somebody says "you people," that's just an artifact of the English language not having a proper plural second place, or what do they call it? For first place, second place, third place. We don't have a thing that means the lot of you all together, right? We say you, and so that sounds wrong to most English speakers, right? We don't have what's it's called. We don't have second place. We have first place, I, and for an individual, you are you, and he and she is third place. But for plural, we, right?
Right.
For third place, it's they. But in second place, there's no pronoun that suffices for you, the group of people. It's just you. And every culture, every dialect in America has a replacement for that plural second place thing. And so y'all, yous, if it's like the northeast, you guys is the Southern California one. So you people is just, it's a thing that says, but yet some people want to take that and then reinterpret that to mean you people as though you are not us, right? It's unfair, because that's not
really
the
good point. Is that because so the transgender debate now has it comes out in that it's specifically what you're saying is that it's the you all instead of hey guys or hey girls or whatever.
Right.
And people, I remember getting into a thread where that was coming up, where it's like when you walk into a group, whether it's guys or girls, I'll say, hey guys, like I'll say it to a whole group of girls, and
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean anything other than hello. It's just a like, hi, how's it going? I'm here.
And there's this whole group of people who would interpret every single word, looking for microaggressions and all kinds of bullshit. And it's completely anti-intellectual. It's totally unfair. It creates all sorts of problems, and it gets it. If it's not solving any problems, right? It's only making people angry, and that's really what it comes down to.
That's a good point.
It's not solving any problems. It's just making people angry.
Just poking the ball.
Yeah, I think that's the point now. It seems like everybody in their own little camp is trying to poke everybody else in the eye around them, and it's like come to this point where, you would just want to, punch the other guy harder than he just punched you, and so you're like lying in wait, waiting for someone.
And I think that half of racial slurs are exactly what you described, Matt. That, if I'm in a fight with you or in a fight with Greg, if I say am in a bar in the South and I have an issue with a black guy that has nothing to do with his race, and I'm trying to get him agitated, or trying to get his goat, or trying to get him to punch me so I can punch him back for issues completely unrelated to race. I know there's one word that I can say that will get the thing done. It has nothing to do with how I feel about him as a human being. All right, I'm just saying, I think that a lot of racial slurs are not like some deep-seated understanding of the world and putting people in their place. It's just, I want to say the thing that's going to piss you off. And I know, thank you so much for very clearly letting me know what that word is, right? And so I'm not saying that it's okay to say these things. I mean, like I said, I have liberal credentials. I will defend liberalism, and I come from that side. However, I have a lot of to me, this is like common sense stuff. Like, we got to think through this, and we can't be, not that we can't be so sensitive, but we need to decide what's a battle worth fighting. And to me, a bunch of guys, if the N-word gets thrown around in a drunken bar fight, you know, to me, that's like this. Those are just dudes, assholes trying to piss each other off, right? And I don't know. It doesn't make sense to drill down into the meaning of every single little word, and it annoys the fuck out of me.
But I think that's kind of and maybe because the moment that it got and I don't know, I'm not really defending one way or the other. It's just something that I've noticed over time where microaggressions, what people identify, that's an actual, you go to microaggressions.org or .com or whatever, and some of them are just absolutely ridiculous, and then other ones are things where I guess maybe it's an understood thing, where it's like you see what is it, like a young black girl with a kid, and it's like all of a sudden it's her kid. It must be her kid because, you know, it's a young black girl, and then you have the young white girl who has a kid. It's like, oh, is that your niece or something like that? And I'm just pulling that out of thin air. But there are things that are kind of, I guess, like society as a stereotype perpetuates, and then it kind of dies away. And I think that's where it all comes from. And I think now people just don't care anymore. And it goes right to your point, Brian, is like, they're just saying it to get a rise, or they're saying it to describe feelings maybe they don't understand for themselves, and so they kind of lean on that, and that's kind of how we ended up with this microaggressions you all use, and all these faux pas words and faux pas phrases and faux pas sayings, and IQ tests. Like IQ tests, when I was going to high school, I was not allowed to take IQ tests because I'm half black. They wouldn't let me take IQ tests, and I didn't know that was a thing.
What?
Yeah, I could not take. Well, I could not take the IQ test administered through school. They wouldn't do it
through our school.
Yeah. And I remember.
I have heard that there are some like laws or rules built into education coming from DC that maybe invaded that realm of things, saying, oh no, we have to have different races take different IQ tests or something because they thought some IQ tests might be unfair to. But see, that whole generalization that they made is unfair to everybody. I hate that crap. Wow, yeah. I had no idea that happened.
And Mensa even has it. Mensa has. I remember this because when I took my Mensa test, they were talking about like, oh, what happens if you fail? And there's a secondary Mensa test that they can give. I forgot what it's called, but they have a I don't know if it's a race fair or. Of course, none of this stuff comes up quickly. But there's a secondary Mensa test you can take that will get you in as well.
I take less exception with this kind of stuff because, and this might sound weird coming out of my mouth, but I think there are cultural differences between people that when unaccounted for would show up as differences in performance on tests like this. And I said it in the fairest way that I can say, because we don't. It's like there's a real crude analogy, and it goes back to animals, which is kind of like the Zootopia thing, which is to say that if you had a test about being an elephant, a lion would fail it regardless of how smart a lion it was, right? It's like it's not certain people are smarter than others. It's that in cultures we have different ideas about what success is. We have different ideas about what's being asked of us, how we should respond. And if you take and I'll just be blunt about it, if you take a white test written by white people and give it to white kids for what white people want to think of as successful answers in white kids, you can't just assume that test will just translate across the board and everybody takes it. It's a pretty it's a pretty smug assumption that you would know how other people. You know what I mean? It's like you. How do you know that what you're asking is the right answer? It looks like the right answer to you, but it might not be the right answer to somebody else. And so to take a look at these things, it becomes very difficult to have these tests. And the answer is to take, I think is to give it to a bunch of kids, and if it looks like a race isn't doing, then on whole, right? If on the whole is not answering it well, or is not succeeding at it, I think it's fair to, take a look at what's being asked and whether those things are racially charged. I don't know.
I agree with you, Brian, except for I don't think I would phrase it in terms of race. I think race...
Culture.
Now, yeah, right. Race is a poor heuristic for determining culture nowadays.
Yeah.
It's not even a real thing, right? It's a marketing thing. I mean, from a... What is it? I think it was Bill Nye. You always say that quote from him is that it's not like it's. Yeah. There's no difference. We're all human race. It's not like you're a different type of human or anything like that. It's all. Yeah. So the idea of race is really just you have more melanin in your skin.
Yeah. No, agreed, and I'll actually defer to that. It's culture, and the reason we know is because they take kids who are like, say, adopted out of foreign countries and raised 100%, from the day they're infants in this country, and those kids don't stand out, right? Statistically, they're not any different than others. However, within a culture, and here's something I don't hear a lot. I think that there are legitimate cultures that separate us even from street to street here in America. I think that
look at Oxnard.
You know what I mean?
Down C through G Street to H Street. I mean, the mayor lived on H Street or F Street, and then a crime happened on G Street, kind of, or maybe the other way around.
Yeah. No, I think you got it right. You got it right. I'm familiar with Oxnard. You know what I mean? It's possible to be so, if you live off of Cooper in Oxnard, right off of Oxnard Boulevard, versus 3 miles my direction, living up, a mile away from the beach. You're going to get a different childhood, a different culture. And so, yeah, I defer to that. It's absolutely culture.
That is a hard thing to separate from race, though. I mean...
Because they tend to be the same lines, right? The Venn tend to overlap.
And like you just said, like there's like different cultures from street to street, from city to city.
Absolutely.
You can't even classify cultures many times. Like, yes, I am of the culture of people that were swept out here from Oklahoma in the Dust Bowl, and that has its own, set of attributes. And then I grew up on the Avenue in Ventura, and that has a set of,
absolutely.
But then you can
my being, and
you can step farther back though and say that black people as a culture they were almost forced into a culture of one because they were all uniformly treated in a recognized even in a certain way all the way into early time. And I think it's not racism any longer because the racism happened that created this culture that now we've got the crime rates, the incarceration rates. There's all of these race associated things that exist when really, as we're all agreeing here, is that it's a cultural aspect. So how do you separate that? I don't know.
It's tough. How do how do you say look at President Barack Obama, whose father is Kenyan, right? I think it's almost universal. People understand that there is a fundamental difference in culture between American blacks and African blacks, right?
There's a Chris Rock stand-up about that, I think.
Right. You know what I mean? It's like people who are here, who were born in Africa or come from that culture, come here. They don't have much in common at all with the culture of American raised black culture. And so Obama, his father is born and raised in Kenya, Kenyan national, and then comes in here and yet is adored by American blacks as one of their own, even though, if we're being honest, he's not, right?
Right. I like the fact that he was a mixed guy, because growing up he got it from both sides. He got it from, he had a white mother, and he, like that's
absolutely. And the same argument. I'm Mexican. However, I am my family has been here for 5 generations, right? I've got almost nothing in common with, say, somebody who's coming over these days selling corn on the streets in the little carts with the bells on them. You know what I mean? I'm saying that even though we're both from Mexico,
who puts mayonnaise on corn? All right,
I do. It's delicious. You know what I'm saying? It's like my family has been here for 100 years and has built businesses and part of the what's El Concilio, which is a high society in Tucson, Arizona, and so it's like there's such a different culture that I was grown up with, the things that I brought over, than for people who are recent immigrants. And somebody outside would say, oh, you guys are both Mexican, treat us the same. Although within ourselves, we would say, I have nothing in common with that guy. You know what I mean? It's when other people group you, just like, and to be fair, other people group white people. I mean, there's almost no uniformity between Russians and Irish, and you know what I mean. It's like it's the outside groups put you in a group.
It's like Russians or Asians, right? So so are you Asian or are you white? Is that where Caucasian came from? Huh? Did you like that? I just kind of no. To get back to your point, because it's a great point, is that there are, as both of you have pointed out, there are subcultures within those cultures, street to street, state to state, generation to generation. Actually, for the longest time, I thought you were like a Polynesian or something.
I get that all the time. Sure.
I used to get, when I was darker and I went outside, I get like Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm just the best of both worlds. What can I tell you?
How's that working out for you?
It's not working out. You have to choose. You have to pick out of the 4 things that you take from both races. You got to choose only 3. You got to be really good at those 3, and then the other one.
But wouldn't it be interesting? Like, for example, we were talking about testing, right? And I made the mistake. White people write the test, give it to white kids. Maybe there is some undiscerned striation in that culture too. We don't realize that this test being given to all these kids, it just tends to be the kids from Appalachia, whose families are descended from sort of Georgia, deep south, versus kids that are coming to the Irish and Italians of up the north. Would we ever dive down into the family demographics of that to realize, like, oh no, everybody that we're giving this test to is we see 80% of white kids are doing, and 20%, that seems like a reasonable curve for us to accept. But if we realize, oh man, families that are descended from Baltic states, for example, I'm just pulling something out of my ass, it tends to be all of those kids that are doing poorly on this test, and it's all the kids that are from Western European countries are doing well. Would we ever, as a society, consider something to be so, would we ever consider such a fine gradation and realize there's something we've been missing this whole time? You know what I mean? Are we, even amongst white people, we tend to default to Germanic, sort of Western European, and that's not the only white people on the planet. Also,
Right. And there's actually, I think, the one big thing that makes people think differently by culture, at least as it relates to, well, whatever, by culture, is language. In some languages, it's actually almost impossible to convey certain ideas.
Absolutely.
And especially in Aboriginal, languages like Native American or African tribes or Inuit, whatever. You go over the world, the first peoples, as you can call them, they have a hard time. They're gonna have a really hard time telling someone, "Hey, go climb that tree and grab me the fruit that's hanging in the middle of the tree." There'd be no way to tell them that. There's just like, "Hey, I want food. You get."
Right.
It really it's very
Tarzan
simple.
didn't make it on the list.
It's very simple.
Shaka as the walls fall, right?
Yeah. Well, no, that's oh, go for it, Matt.
No, I was just going to say, so that those lingual differences kind of, even if you start speaking a new language like English or something, and you have greater ability to say what you want to say, your mindset from being maybe raised in a family where greater complex ideas were not conveyed as often, that will probably inhibit your ability to...
Or different ideas, right?
Do well on tests,
Right. Or different ideas, not more complex, but rather in a different way. That reminds me of something I heard about Chinese, which is that, let me see if I got this right. I'm sure it's going to be wrong in some way, but that every number all the way up to 20, I think, and all of the basic mathematical functions, add, subtract, multiply, divide, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, all of those numbers are single syllabic words that are just a sound. And so the language processing math for basic math are all single sounds, and there's not a double like 11, 15, 17, multiply, divide. And so you can express most basic math things in 3 syllables, and the brain's ability to not have to think of 2 numbers, 3 numbers, all of those things. And all of those numerals are expressed with a single character, not multiples of 10s, 2 numbers to write 20 or something like that. And that basic, the bit, right, if you think about computer data, the bits it takes to make all the basic things are so much simpler in Chinese than English, so the brain can work through them faster.
So you're saying it's a positive racism, is a positive stereotype, but it's actually the language of it. Yeah.
But it's built into the language, and I don't think what I read was saying this is why why that stereotype is true, but rather that if the brain has to think of less stuff in order to process these things. Could it mean that that they're able to do these things even a split second faster because they don't have, in order to say 17 or think 17, they just say a single syllable versus a whole other thing, multiplied by, right? All of these equations are much faster, and it has nothing to do with culture. It's just language. You know what I mean? By learning that language, that they're able to do math faster than their English-speaking or Germanic-speaking counterparts. And it's, to me, that's the kind of stuff that I think, I can consider that without thinking at all about racism. That just makes sense to me. You know what I mean? And it has nothing to do with race or culture or anything. Right. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And it makes sense. And I'm not saying that that's true. I'm just saying I've heard that, and that's the kind of thing that, that kind of thing seems to be reasonable without considering that, it's some great, horrible injustice. It's just, well, that's the way it is. You know what I mean? and it seems like a reasonable thing.
Yeah, there's a to touch on that. That's kind of how
I'm getting a little tips.
it's like what's going on? No, but onomatopoeia as well. The whole idea of words being sounds of words are different as well. Like in Japanese, you don't have boom. Boom does not exist. Things don't go boom in Japanese. It's more of like a bim, or I'm trying to like quickly catch up here because I heard this a long time ago, and I'm glad to see it's a thing, and I'm not just spouting out bullshit. But it's that it comes down to that language side of it. I mean, did we just crack? I think we just cracked the code. I think that we just figured it out. I think too. This is a point I was going to make earlier. Is that Brian, you were saying at some point, are we ever going to take all that data and get a chance to see, okay, well, these Nordic kids here and these Georgian kids here, this is why. I think that as information is so easily accessible now and so rapidly available, I think that it's not going to get better. Not to get all doom and gloom about it, but
right.
We rely so much on anecdotal evidence. We rely so much on confirmation bias. Like we just see it. It's what we're fed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week by our media. We go to the internet. You search anything you want, and there's always going to be someone out there who's come up with this huge case study about why you're right. And so there's really, we have no discernment about. We either have to be a master of everything, or we just kind of have to be sheep. And at some point, you choose one or the other. At some point, I'm okay not knowing how to make tofu. I'll just assume like, oh yeah, this is how you make tofu. There's going to be things that you just lean on and you accept even just because it kind of agrees with your narrative. And I think it just sucks. It sucks. I fall prey to it. I'm not going to say that you guys do, but I can speak for myself and say that I fall prey to it because, sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, that seems legit. That seems like the par for course for whatever it might be, and then I move on, and I don't know. I don't know where that's going to take us, and maybe it's English's fault. Like you said before, there was no we. It's yous and y'all and all, but other languages do. Other languages have accommodations for those things, and so maybe maybe English is the reason why the end of the world is rapidly approaching. No?
Speaking of something kind of similar, my parents just sent in their spit to get analyzed to see what like their racial makeup was, like where they come from. We just got my mom's back.
You gonna find out how black you are?
Yeah, I want to find out exactly how much black I have, and if I don't know.
Answer the age-old question of, do you have any black in you?
I think I'm part. You know how people used to always think I was Jewish? Now I might actually be a tiny bit Jewish.
Meisenheimerberg.
So, Meisenheimerberg, yes. But yeah.
No, I think that's really, I want to do tests like that. I actually was considering doing like the Ancestry.com thing and trying to go through my dad's history that ends up in the Virgin Islands, which is pretty much like the people who jumped off or got thrown off the boat or were in transit. And then on my mom's side, being going through the war in Europe, and them being only children all the way. I think I gave up before I started. But it's something that's interesting. I would absolutely like to kind of dig into that. I don't know what satisfaction it will bring outside of just information, but
don't use Ancestry.com though. Do like 23andMe, because the Ancestry.com, I looked at the report. It's pretty much crap. It's very, very little detail. It's just like, here's a blob of area in Europe where some of your blood is from. And it's like, you don't even tell me what haplogroup
it worked pretty well for my brother-in-law. They tracked it down and found that he's got Benedict Arnold in his bloodline.
What?
Yeah. Not Benedict. Was it Benedict? Yeah, he's the guy that sold us out to the English when it seemed like we were going to lose.
Yeah, he went and talked to So he's a traitor.
Yeah, he was a traitor.
There you go.
Wah, wah.
Aren't
Because
you glad
actually,
to know that now?
you know, if that never happened, he would be on all of our money. Like, that guy did so many awesome, great, good things for the country. If he hadn't have done that one thing when he was like, "Oh, the British are coming, we're fucked." He didn't know the French were going to help out, and he jumped ship and he went over, and that's now he's
Well, his
remembered only for that.
was it his mistress, his girlfriend was English sympathizer, and he didn't realize he was being duped as she was working for them.
He had an Eve going along. Taste this apple, it's amazing.
Maybe it was amazing. Don't blame Eve.
Yeah, damn it. By the way, it's the cattle culture fair test is what they had for Mensa. It wasn't a race, but which is great that we just had this huge deep conversation here. Talked about culture and language, and then it turns out that it's not a race fair, it's a culture fair test that they accept. So we should all. Oh, I've taken the test. I get to be the highfalutin person here.
Yeah, please.
I'm a card carrying member. Well, I would be if I paid them the $50 a year or whatever it was. I'm not paying $50 a year just to bloviate to people.
We got to do that here.
Yeah, that's what this is for. This was 2 hours every week. Tune in, 7-ish o'clock to 9-ish o'clock every Wednesday. You guys want to play a little bit of game?
Yeah.
A little bit of game. I haven't even been drinking. Brian's drinking enough for the both of us.
I am indeed. What's wrong with you, Greg?
I don't. I slept instead.
Okay.
I was like, I gotta get up and hit record. That's pretty much how this went. You guys ever played Would You Rather?
I've played it.
I'm sure.
It's pretty easy. You get to pick one of the two options, and we can make it a little bit more interesting by you have to kind of explain why you chose this answer. Okay. Here's a little lighthearted one. Would you rather live one life that lasts 1,000 years or live 10 lives that last 100 years?
Ooh.
Do I age?
Yeah. You just live 1 through 10 times?
You guys failed your SATs as well, right? Wait, I don't understand the question.
Do you just get the 1 through 10? That sounds awful.
It says 10 lives that last 100 years each.
Oh, okay. Each part. 10 lives. Well, that sounds pretty good.
10 lives. It's still 1,000 years, but you get to do it 10 different times.
You can't carry on the information from the previous lives, though, I would assume.
That's true. I guess if now we're philosophizing a would you rather question. That's a good point. I mean, I don't know. The 1,000 years, in a way, you're living a bunch of lives because people are coming and going.
How do you know what's you? If you die and everything dies with you, then what's in that scenario? What's the difference between one life and 10? Because if you don't know that it's you, so if you get to ride through it like John Malkovich style.
That's right. That's right.
You know what I mean? Where you just get to be inside some other person living life without having any say in it.
I don't know if I'd want to die 10 times. I think that's the part that I don't want about the.
But I'm guessing if you die when you're 100, if you live to 100, dying's no big deal. Oh, please.
Yeah, well, the last 20 years of your life are bonus round, and you get to be carted around.
Yeah. My mother used to say something like, if you do this, it'll add 10 years to your life. Usually had something to do with eating healthy or something. Mm-hmm. And my response was always, yeah, but it's 10 years tacked on at the end.
Yes,
miserable.
Right.
They're miserable years.
It's a reverse mortgage. That's all it is.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that years 70 through 100 are anything great, And I think that's why a lot of guys are checking out at 69 recently, Bowie and...
That's right.
All those years are at the end, of the tail end. I would rather live...
Gary Shandling, let's say. Yeah.
12 or 13 lives that just go up to 65 and then call it a day.
Yeah, it's can I adjust the years? I guess you have the option. You don't have to live the 100 years. This is how long the lives will be.
Right.
So you could do the whole move to Washington, Dr. Kevorkian status, I guess that's okay. But you have to make sure that he lives 1,000 years.
We got it in California now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And actually, they just pushed it for. Was it Jackie Irwin just pushed for it to not be against the federal law for vets, because they're suicidal vets, but their attempts of suicide are actually against some UMC, United States Marine Corps rule that says that they're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to attempt to commit suicide. And it's really sad. I'm sorry, there's like a fly that's like, it keeps flying in my face, and then you can't see it, and then no!
We thought you were getting like Bernie Sanders with the bongo play.
Well, yeah.
Sparrow.
Wow, now it's I thanks fly.
I derailed you.
The fly and the I don't know. Would you rather use eye drops made of vinegar or toilet paper made of sandpaper?
Vinegar.
He's like, I've done that before. It's actually not that bad.
What's the imperative here? Do I have to use either one? Like,
or you just use none. You'll just never use either. Toilet paper made of sandpaper, you would just be Dingleberry McGee. That's how it would go.
I have a squatty potty. I don't need much toilet paper. I'll just have to dump
Is that not the best?
Oh my god!
Addition?
It is brilliant. It has changed the way
you have not pooped until you've lined up your bile duct or your bowels the proper way.
My brother made me one. It's pretty cool. I can show it to you.
Show us your squatty potty.
Show us your squatty potty. That's a great invention.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Would you rather have a large 10-inch long belly button that swayed to music, or have accordions for legs?
What was the second one?
That was very specific. Not only is it a 10-inch long belly button, but it also swayed to music. Yes.
Like Matt's video cam now.
Yeah, like yes. Does your belly button do what Matt's webcam does? Or
what was the second part?
Have accordions for legs. That would be kind of irritating to have an accordion for legs.
Does it make the accordion sound when I walk?
I would have to assume so. I would have to assume that would be the requirement for accordion legs. Like this is you would be the new member of the Weird Al group. I just have you walk. Oh man.
Wait, Greg, please click on that. Please make that
Matt's stool. I like how it's burned in. It's burned into it.
It's not burned into my memory.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So how does it work, Matt?
Well, you just put it in your butt, and that's all you got to do.
Oh man. Right.
I would have to go with the 10-inch belly button if I had to.
Yeah. Because I mean, you can, but it probably hurts. It probably, cause like, you ever put your finger in your belly button, and like you get that, it like hurt a little bit.
I imagine there would be other problems like chafing.
You might need to get my belly button checked out.
You know, like when you run and your shirt rubs your nipples. Like I think you'd have that times 10.
Oh man, oh yeah. Like you go, like you can't bodyboard. The rash guards would do nothing for you.
Yeah.
That's a pain. That's painful.
That doesn't impress the ladies.
I don't know. It depends.
I mean, size.
How thick are we talking about for this belly button? I mean, I'm just projecting my own belly button. I'm imagining it's a quarter inch
like
thick
or
something, like just a little
long.
I would have to pass it off as like what are the tails or something that you're born with, and you just have to explain.
Oh, vestigial tail. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry, mine was on the other side.
Yeah. Well, you could do like, look, I got two. You know, you can like fold it around. There's all kinds of cool things you could do with that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a dumb one. Well, I'll read it anyway. Would you rather secretly have sex with a goat, or have everyone think you had sex with a goat, even though you didn't?
Oh. Oh.
Every night, every Wednesday night starts with a glass. What are you drinking tonight, anyway?
Me?
Let's break for the alcohol.
It's a little bottom of the barrel. This is Johnny Walker Red. I'm out of the good stuff, and I just figure before I spend money on another bottle, I might as well drink the stuff I've got left. So,
It's running.
Have we, Matt? Have you made the call on actually had sex with a goat?
I have not. I don't think it would be physically possible.
Would you do it with your 10-inch belly button?
Well,
I mean, if you go
wait.
If you take on that 10-inch belly button and then go into the goat question, it means it's just entirely, it's a whole new experience, really.
I think. Have you guys seen Black Mirror?
See what?
yes.
Black Mirror on Netflix?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, the British show on Netflix. It's this amazing, very dark sci-fi sort of alternate reality show where, basically the premise of the show is they take technological issues, things that we have to deal with as a society, and sort of play them out to their darkest timeline, as it were. And so one of the shows, the first one, season 1, episode 1, the prime minister, a terrorist group kidnapping, says they'll only return the hostage if he has sex with a pig on live television.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
And so it's possible. Don't say it's impossible. I thought about that.
Now I want to go. I'm making the mistake of Googling.
Isn't it
Black
so
Mirror.
weird that they did that though, Brian? In the
Yeah,
show,
because
then in real life,
David
what
Cameron.
came out exactly? Oh,
I'm looking up 10-inch belly button right now.
Ah!
I want to see. I want to see if it's a thing.
Black Mirror. I would say actually have sex with a goat rather than people. If people thought I did, I might as well have done it.
Might as well just go for it, right? I guess that this is also a cultural thing too, because in some cultures.
Oh, is that a Mexican joke?
I didn't say which.
Hello.
Yeah. I wanted to play a game of Is It Racist, but I couldn't find enough. A lot of it's like imagery. Someone took I saw this recently. Someone took people praying, doing the praying to the east. As an Islamist prayer. Apparently, Islamist Ted Cruz told me that Islamist and what is it? Islamist and Islam are two different things. Islamism. Wait, what is it? There was just the town hall thing. Ted Cruz is Islamist. This is a thing. So he made this case about at the town hall that he would actually patrol Muslim neighborhoods. He would have them patrolled.
Yeah.
And yes, Islamists are not the same as where is the actual?
Right.
Of course, it's
Islamic. I see.
That's right, Islamic, but is that
Right.
not the same thing? Is that made up? Is he making up words right now? I mean,
yeah, because Islamic is the state of being related to Islam, right? Islamic people are people who believe in Islam, but an Islamist, the IST, is commonly used to refer to people who are part of the ideology of, sort of jihadist.
Oh, that's a thing. Wow.
Right, but I'm just saying it's the way it's used. The context is used, and to call somebody an Islamist implies that they are using their ideology as a you know, it's
Right,
a
it's
sort of aggressive.
advocate or supporter of a political movement that favors reordering government and society in accordance with the
Yeah.
laws.
Sure,
That
sure.
is interesting. Ted Cruz, if you're listening and watching, this is number 2 for you, buddy. One, your tax plan was kind of interesting because I'm not in the poor thing. Otherwise, poor people are fucked with your tax plan. But then also, you taught me that Islamist is a separate word from Islamism or Islamic. Very interesting. Well, anyway, so there's a picture that someone had of them praying to the east, and then there were Minesweeper things on top of them, and I was like, is this racist? Or is this just making fun of religion, or both? Discuss. Did I paint that picture for you pretty well?
There's not a picture.
You ever played Minesweeper? I can pick it up here. I can switch it over. You ever played Minesweeper where you put down the flags, and then you can do a little question mark where you think there's a bomb, and then there's like the actual bomb where you can mark that.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is the one. I'll switch this over. This, I haven't done this in a while. Screen share. So it's this. It's like, is this? Yeah, I know. It's terrible.
Is that racist?
So I mean, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, because I haven't.
Some of these people be black and white, and like that's. I think that as a fellow person who may maybe even silently make fun of certain religious practices, that this on that level it's kind of funny, but then you kind of I guess it depends on who's posting it, right?
yeah. There's a little defense. People. I think that. I mean, there's the base question about whether Islam is subject to the term racism at all, right? Because it's not a race, it's a religion. But I think that it's referred to as a race, and a lot of people mistakenly think of it as a race.
Yeah, honestly,
and
I
therefore,
think of Middle East.
And therefore, the slurs, if they think they're talking about a race, and they say something derogatory about it, impugning it as a race, then what they're doing is racism. Right?
Matt, did you see the picture that we're talking about?
No, I did not.
This is what we're talking about here. Is it racist?
Matt laughs. That means it's racist.
No,
that's racist. The white guy laughed. The white guy laughed. You people.
Here, look at mine. Can you pull up my?
Yeah.
What do I have to do?
There's the green box with the white arrow in it. The white arrow. How did we get on that? Oh yeah, I think we just kind of tangented to that. Oh, that's right, because I wanted to play the game. Is it racist? But some of them are just not. Ooh, time became a loop. Oh, there it is, with a dragon and a mustache. What?
I don't know what that's about.
So this
what
is man. That? It's kind of. I mean, like, at least I guess if it's that long, you don't really have to worry about cleaning it out. It's kind of, unless you already have an Audi, you're an Indy or an Audi.
I would tape it up.
Oh, okay.
Like a wire. I'd just bring it up.
You got a wire. This guy's got a wire on you. No. That's just my belly button. I'm sorry. Would you rather have hair nowhere on your body or be very hairy all over and not be able to shave? Sounds like why would I choose? I don't know. It seems there's something that's being missed. Like the knee-jerk answer is probably just take no hair anywhere. But then
put a wig on and call it.
Yeah, I don't know. What was that called? Alopecia, I think.
I don't know. This reminds me of a radio stunt done years ago in LA radio where Heidi.
Frosty, Heidi, and Frank.
Was it Frosty, Heidi, and Frank or Jonathan Brandmeier? One of these radio shows offered to pay for complete body hair removal for the hairiest man they could find. If they could post a picture of that man on an LA billboard. They found a guy who stepped forward, and he was very reticent. He was not a public person at all, but he was extremely hairy. I'm talking like
Robin Williams.
Oh, times 10. Just an extremely hairy guy. And it ended up in civil court. This guy was so distraught, and all of his hair grew back after. It was so. Yeah, this was like not what hair removal was meant to do. You know what I mean? And hair removal was just to be like take mustaches off of housewives and stuff, not complete hair removal of the entire
not
body.
Like I guess after they'd be like using Retin-A on your whole body.
Right,
That's kind of what I would
He said he suffered lots of physical pain. The sessions were very damaging, and I always remember that. And I think I'd rather be bald than to have to deal with that.
Yeah, I'd choose no hair.
Yeah, I think I'd go the no hair route. I don't know. Be hairy all over and not be able to shave. Yeah, no, I think that'd be too bothersome. I guess eventually it would wear off, right? Like you probably wouldn't be bothered by it anymore. I guess I don't know.
I don't know, but I wouldn't be good at math anymore.
Do I still have to have sex with a goat? That's what I want to know. If I don't have to have sex with a goat, then I'm good.
If you're covered in hair, maybe you are the goat, though.
Ah. This just became the most meta would you rather ever.
Can we talk about hair for just 1 second and shaving? I was behind a truck today driving home, and the truck was from the rescue mission. I'm going to see if I can show you this on my phone. But I took a picture. Can you see this? Does that make?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So look at this picture here. And it says, I gotta try and read it backwards. Oh, look, I can flip this around. A changed
life begins with a meal. Thanks for giving.
Right, and then there's a before picture of some dude, and an after picture.
Kind of looks like Charles Manson.
True, but what are they suggesting happened between these two pictures? Like, the guy just looks like he's got a beard and some hair, and then he gets a shave.
And a broken nose?
Yeah, maybe. Like, he looks a little worse. Like, maybe he's got bags under his eyes.
He looks like Tony, what's his name? The guy who took over on Law and Order, the regular one.
Yeah, and this is a rescue mission truck, right? So, obviously, they want to suggest that this dirty bum off the street came into the rescue mission and turned his life around, and because of that, you should donate your used shoes to the rescue mission. But I was looking at this too. I drove behind this truck from Newbury Park into the Oxnard border, staring at this photo, and I was like, there's nothing wrong with the dude in the first picture. Like, he doesn't have, like, meth scars. There's no bags under his eyes. He doesn't have, like, a herpes sores or anything. You know what I mean? He just looks like a hairy dude with a beard.
So could this be that maybe you felt that they were telling you that you needed to get some help, and so that way that maybe you should go to the rescue mission to get yourself a nice clean shave, because clearly you need.
The guy looked like Jesus before. What was wrong with him the way he was? I'm sure he's just some dude. He was like a model, like a beard model. They said, "Can we take a before and after shot?" I don't know.
So it's actually gone from what they actually helped someone to they hired an actor, a beard model.
I'm just saying the assumption is that beardedness is dirty and unkempt and clean, and he's not even clean shaven. He has a skeevy mustache on.
Did they not know that 2015 and 2016 were the years of the beard?
Right. He looks fine in the first photo. I don't know what they're trying to suggest before and after rescue mission. He must have donated his beard to the rescue mission, which is Before and after he donated.
Can you donate beard hair? That would be. I'm sure you could. You they got Merkins, right?
Oh.
Oh no, that's too far. we're fucking goats with 10-inch belly buttons. But that's just too far. No. Kill, fuck, or marry Trump, Carson, and Jeb Bush.
Oh boy, Matt, you go first.
What?
Wait, Greg, why are you off the hook on all of this?
Yeah, what the heck?
Come on, you can
I
ask.
think I'm the only one not drinking. I think I'm the designated driver tonight. Be the DD and win. Guess what?
Matt, please.
Yeah, Matt. Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Jeb Bush. Kill, fuck, or marry.
Kill.
Kill.
That is rough.
I mean, I can't even make my
Come on!
Oh.
You want to start with something easier?
Yeah, Greg, come on, work up to that.
Cinderella, Ariel, or Snow White?
Oh boy.
See, this is where it gets that borderline. We're in that microaggression zone.
Yeah, this is really rough.
Wait, what were the options again? Ariel and
I think it's Cinderella, Ariel, or Snow White.
Snow White. Oh, I'm reviewing the movie plots.
I'll give you the images.
Marry Cinderella. Marry Cinderella. Kill the fish woman.
Kill the fish woman.
and do the other thing to the other one.
You would marry.
I only say that because Cinderella, I know her past. She'd be a pretty decent wife.
Now you got this thought out.
That is terrible. I got problems with Ariel, and so if I had to make a decision, it would be kill her because she's a bratty teen who throughout the entire movie never has to make a decision that makes anything for the best. She ignores her dad, and then she goes with the sea witch, gets the spell, she fucks that all up. And then her dad and the guy she's with steps in at the end and saves her ass, and she never suffers any consequences for any of her bad actions.
So you don't like her because it fails the Bechdel test is pretty much where you're at.
Does she say anything in that movie that doesn't have to do with the man? No, she doesn't. She never.
Right, the whole point of everything, right? I guess it's a Disney movie,
it fails the Bechdel test. But again, I'm like an English literature guy. I want to see consequences, and in that movie, there's no consequences.
Yeah, that's right.
In Cinderella, that girl, she steps out, right? She goes for it, and even though things, she puts herself out there, and that to me is impressive. Snow White running away from her past and gets saved by everybody else at the end too. So I'd have to, but kill the fish.
Yeah, kill the fish. Down with the fish lady. Did not pass our panel.
No.
Sorry, Ariel. Let's see. Oh, okay. No, because I don't. Do you guys know who Ryan Dunn is? Yeah.
The guy from Jackass?
Yeah, the guy. I think he died.
Yeah, he's dead.
So that would be kind of a weird thing to play. Actually, everyone on this is dead. This was Steve Jobs, Muammar Gaddafi, or Ryan Dunn. Kill, fuck, or marry.
Jesus Christ.
This is our most explicit episode ever.
Oh my God. Can I marry him before he died to make sure I was in the will?
Are you guys ready for Trump, Carson, or Bush?
Oh God.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I'm not. Nope. Hairy guy who can't shave, person with a 10-inch belly button,
or goat.
I'd rather never shave, I think.
No. But kill, fuck, or marry. You got those three. The goat, the guy with
Oh
the 10 inch belly
no, that's
button.
what we're doing.
I was like, oh no, that was cool when we
Oh,
were
yeah,
talking
guy
about
that
fish
could never
lady.
shave.
A fish lady. That was a different story.
This is the worst.
Yeah, we didn't have time for this. I can't reconsider. It's out there. I'm just gonna stick with them. I'm gonna keep reiterating Trump, Carson, or Bush.
All right, I'm gonna go for it just so we might see an end. I would.
Wait here. Maybe this will help. This will help you a little bit.
That's-
If I maybe if seeing your there you go.
Oh.
Man.
Ben Carson would be quiet, so maybe marrying him wouldn't be such a bad idea.
I like Bush.
Yeah,
I think I would marry Bush.
He's so adorable.
He seems like he is. I like him. He's like one of those guys that just is ashamed of his family. Wishes, you know what I mean? Like there's.
You would be an upgrade for him too.
Yeah.
You would be an upgrade.
I don't know who's he currently married to. I'm sure.
Oh,
she's
you don't
fine.
wanna-
I'm sure
He
she's
tells amazing
great.
jokes. He's a great jokester.
Yeah, he was a quiet administrator type.
And he's open.
Wow.
He's also open with what he'll tell you, like, please clap. You know, he's very
Yeah, very honest.
yeah.
I
very
think from day one he had that faraway look of defeat in his eyes, and you know, I think I would have to marry him. Trump. I don't know. Look at how much hand wringing we're doing over like a completely hypothetical that
I know,
no
right?
impact on anything.
But it could have like you'll rest easy tonight, having
A little
resolved this.
hand wringing also, because if you say kill to any one of those, Secret Service may be at your door.
That's right. Well, at least
Right.
one of them.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I'll go with kill Carson because I don't think he's under Secret Service protection
But
anymore.
there you go.
I guess I'm fucking Trump, but it's gonna be in the ass. So. There you go.
You're not going to be the bottom on that one.
No, sir.
Oh no, this will be a sweet, sweet baby loving. Matt, what about you?
I'd have to.
Do you need more inspiration? Do you need it back? It's just to kind of visualize world peace right here.
Yeah, I'd marry Carson.
Really?
Yeah. Let's
He
see
probably
here.
lecture you all the time. So he's like
Just
real
because
quiet, but it lectures.
Just because of what Trump has done to me personally, he'd get the big K from me.
Wow.
But you know, Bush kind of deserves it, but not for the sins of his grandfather. So
Oh, look at him.
there we go.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. I was gonna do this one. Okay, here we go. Let's just do this one. Brian, kill, fuck, or marry.
Oh.
Mark Zuckerberg, Tom from MySpace, or Mr. LinkedIn.
Is that LinkedIn guy?
That's LinkedIn guy.
Oh,
I don't know
kill
his
fucking
name.
Mary. I'd marry Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, look at that.
Hands
smile.
down. Look at the Jesse Eisenberg right there. He's cute.
It's Jesse Eisenberg.
I would definitely kill Tom from MySpace because I've heard real stories. That guy's a super douchebag.
Kind of douchey.
And yeah, I'll go for the plus size gentleman from the LinkedIn. I'll take
Was
him,
that
sure.
the old more cushion for the pushing?
Yeah,
so to
more
speak?
cushion for the pushing. I'm into that.
No
Sure.
one says that anymore either. Did that get
Yeah.
microaggressed out? Is that not a thing anymore?
Yes, that's not a. There's nothing micro about that aggression.
That's a major aggression.
That's
And,
aggression.
Matt?
I assume that killing is still an option after the other two options, right? Like I can marry someone and then kill them.
Oh yeah, and then you kind of you couldn't kill them then because you might not get the inheritance. I think
That's okay.
That might be a violation.
That's okay. All I need is to get close enough to him to kill him.
All right. So Mensa tests.
Yeah.
So we're coming up toward the end, and being that to stick to the topic of coming up to the end, Bernie is making headway.
Oh, thank God! Thank God!
I know.
Bernie wasn't at the top of your Mary Fucker Kill list. I was
gonna do that. Well, I could have been like Trump, Hillary, or Bernie. I probably have to marry Bernie. Because I mean, who wants to get rid of that guy?
Right.
No, but so right now where it stands is that as far as pledged delegates, there's like 200. There's a 200 delegate difference between him and Hillary, and I think at this point, like I actually getting excited. I don't normally get excited. I usually go, okay, this is the position I like. I like the social position of this, and I'm already decided like long in advance about where I'm going anyway. But this is getting exciting. It's getting like just imagine. I mean, even if Trump wins, dare I say, which Brian, you put it out there first that this would be an acceptable possibility.
Which is
blame you. Well, no, if like Trump would make a good GOP,
yeah. Trump would be better for Democrats than Cruz.
Yes. Yeah, and then maybe that would be the would you rather vote for Trump or vote for Cruz? But no, the point of what I'm slowly hobbling to is this little guy story, the small guy story, where I mean, the guy is off the D.C. ballot, primary ballot, because the Democratic the organization, the DNC, they file the papers late, so I guess he's not on the primary ballot for D.C. I don't know if that's going to get rectified. I'm pretty sure that I don't know how that works, but it's just against him. Everyone's like, oh, the media is saying, oh, he's Bernie loses, Hillary wins Arizona. Well, okay, well there's it's split. She didn't get all 40 delegates. She got 20 something, and so I don't know. I'm just putting that out there. Say what you will about it, about the elections in general that will thankfully be over in 9 months, 8 months, and it's an interesting play because if Bernie does end up making it through, it's kind of a big fuck you to literally everybody, outside of college students or people under 40. Because I don't know. I wanted to put that out there. I think I wanted a little bit more of a rant for myself out of it. But it really is just an observational thing. It's just this. It's very interesting and somewhat exciting to watch the little guy win. To watch the guy who, I remember when he first came in, I watched Bill Maher, Real Time with Bill Maher every Friday. Friday night is like 11 or something. It goes live, and he's been on that show a lot. And the way that he debates, the way that he talked on that show, it was like there's no way that this guy will ever be president because people are going to hate the fact that he does this thing when you're talking, he's trying to get your attention, and he's like tone this down. He's got this thing he does with his lip now. You can even see him like bite his, there's a thing when he wants to keep talking and he won't. So anyway, it's just awesome to watch this evolution of Bernie Sanders into someone who's actually a viable contender and will polls consistently against any opposition. So there you go. That's my closing argument. We usually go around and go, what are we promoting, this and that, we all know what we're promoting. Well, it's the same. It's the same thing. But I don't know. What's your? Let's go to Matt. Matt, instead of promotion, what's passionate for you right now that you want to share with the world?
Well, this is kind of promotion. I'm trying to write 2 books now, and I'm getting kind of passionate about them.
What are they about?
One of them is called The Great Reversal and Why You Will Die Soon.
Nice. That's very catchy.
Nice.
And then the other one is actually, I hesitate to say it after this horrible game round we've played.
It's all dirty. You're gonna take a shower in hydrogen peroxide after this.
One of them is it's about the math of salvation in the Bible, and I'm putting it out there as this is my observation. I mean, it came to me. I don't know if I can claim it as my own, but it's something that I want other people to verify and check out, and after they read it and then they look at the Bible again, I think more things will click for them. So I'm going to write that as well. And
is this based off the Facebook note that you had? I remember a long time ago you posted this Math of Salvation.
Yeah. So that just kind of came to me, and I've been trying to explain it to people, and some people get it, some people don't. So I think I just need to elaborate, and maybe I'll make it into like a 20, 30-page thing and publish it as an ebook or something, and maybe hopefully make a couple bucks off of it. Although I'd be really bad making any money off of that. But the other book will be my money maker. So yeah, those two things. Yes.
I wanted to kind of pause block it for a second and just see how long. See if we can just
How long
keep
I
it
could
on. And how? Brian, what have you got? I have to listen to your next podcast. I saw it come up. I got a little Stitcher pop up. It starts down. I love when I see it start downloading because I'm like,
oh, good.
It's either my Fizzle podcast or it's I keep forgetting. Can we just change the name of your podcast to like?
There's no time to explain.
What's
That's
the name of that podcast? There's
no time to explain.
Well, this is why I always forget, because you don't take the time to explain. All right. It's gonna die. That joke. Maybe one or two more episodes.
Sure.
What was your most recent show, Brian? I actually checked it out.
Would have been came out yesterday. Conversation with Dan Flores. Dan Flores is a local musician, guy about town. Comes to music with a very sort of charismatic sort of showmanship. Then we talk about that. He sells me on Daredevil, which I didn't start watching Daredevil until he convinced me of it when we did the recording. And we talk about why Marvel movies do well and DC movies don't. But that's the latest one. But the thing I'm actually working on. The thing I'm actually working on this week is an invention of mine, an invention that I actually have a patent for that I just haven't touched in 10 years. It's a strap for a drum. So when drummers play, if they forget their carpets, this strap keeps their drum tethered to them so it doesn't scoot away, which is a very specific problem that plagues drummers, and every drummer who's out there who's listening would know what I'm talking about.
Did you already get a patent for it, or a provisional patent?
Yeah, provisional patent for it.
Okay, cool.
But I haven't touched it in 10 years, and I just kind of walked away from it. But I recently reached out to the company that made my prototype. I ordered a couple more, and I'm going to put them on my webpage for sale. Maybe start a Kickstarter to get the money to do enough a run so I can get the quantity breaks, and then maybe another 10 grand for promotion, marketing and stuff like that. But I was like, here's a thing that I actually made and I haven't done anything with, and I'm just like starting to get the wheels cranked, and so that's what's been on my mind this week.
Nice. Are you going Kickstarter route, or?
That would be, I think, the way to go. Just put it out there, and hopefully, as Kickstarter in itself might generate enough interest in this thing, and just people in a format that people would see. The only people I imagine would be interested in such a contraption would be drummers. It's a very narrow market, but it's a thing. And also, I have a friend that runs a music store, so I thought I'd take it in, show it to him, see what he thought about getting it. So, anyways. You asked me what I got going on. That's what I got going on.
That's really cool. Especially, I am not a drummer, but I can. When you describe that being a thing, I'm like, oh, that makes total sense.
Yeah, because as you play the drum, the kick actually scoots the drum away from you.
Right, right.
You forward spikes on a drum that dig into the carpet, but the carpet is this big, roll of carpet that all drummers take with them, and they as a music promoter, there have been so many days where I'd show up and the drummer brought all his shit but forgot his carpet at home. And so people are constantly like finding bricks and heavy things to put in front of the drum to keep it. So I designed a strap that straps to the seat that you're sitting on and then has two forward sort of guy lines and a pocket that the forward spikes sit into. And so the weight of you sitting down on a seat tethers the drum to you, and so it doesn't scoot away as you play it. So again, I designed this thing. I had prototypes made, and this is about 10 years ago, and then just kind of like walked. I didn't do much with it, but lately I've been thinking about it a lot and decided to sort of sort of see if I can get that started again.
That's really cool. It's cool that it's not a thing. Like there's not someone out there.
Right. And when I looked into the patent, there was a bunch of people that had tried to solve this problem. You can go to the U.S. patent database and search for all kinds of things.
Right.
So
I think you can go to patent.google.com even.
Yeah.
Search there.
There's a couple different solutions that people have tried to come up for this, but nothing is just strap it to the fucking seat, which was my idea. Why don't you just strap it to the seat? And so we'll see.
Are you gonna call it the strap-on?
It's called the original drum leash.
The original. I was gonna say the original strap-on. You can call it that.
No, the drum leash. And when I was concerned that I might not 10 years on be able to get a patent for it, given that I'd started the paperwork 10 years ago and didn't finish the patent process. So I figured if I need to market it in a way, because again, it's so simple that almost anybody could go, yeah, it's just a strap.
Why didn't I think of that?
So I figured if I called it the original drum leash, then if there were people in the future that tried to make it, they couldn't make the thing and call it the same name as mine. So I figured by using the word original, it implies that, hey, I was the first one to come up with this idea, and other ones are imitators of it. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Well, that's pretty cool. I don't have any patents, and that makes me feel dumb for some reason. I don't know why.
Just fill out the paperwork and send it in. I don't remember it was probably less than $100 to get the paperwork started up front.
Yeah, so there's like three different. There's provisional patent, then there's utility patent, and then there's the other one. What's the other one? Like a
design patent.
Design, right. And the expensive one is the utility one, but the provisional is like, all right, this is like you tag the bell on the top of the mountain, but you're not on the hill. You're just the first.
And what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to patent is that there's a sunset on all of that stuff. So as the patent ages, there are thresholds that you need to pay for, with the assumption that, hey, if you had this idea and you are making the world a better place by putting this idea out there, then you should be making money at it. And so 5 years in, you owe us another $1,000. 10 years in, you owe us another $3,000. And the money goes up the longer you want to renew the patent. With the idea that there's pressure to be making money, because if you're not busy making money or earning money from your invention, then
you're just sitting on a good idea.
Yeah, you're just sitting on a good idea.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I kind of don't like that, because then like the idea of creating for the pure sense of creating.
Yeah,
that's what fucked Tesla, right? That's what fucked Tesla.
All the patent law is based around the idea that, hey, you want to make it it's to force ideas out in the public for public good. But hey, if you want to make an idea, you better be using it. And so there is a pressure to make money at it, because the price for maintaining that patent goes up.
Wow. This is it's a whole new world for me. I have no. I only know about it from Shark Tank. I'm a code guy, but at the same time, there's been a lot of things like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But I'm like tie some straws together and put it under the table. Like, ooh, see, look what I've made out of these straws. Now the table is level. And, yeah. Anyway, that's something right there. That's something to create. Why don't you create a thing that is like that you go to a restaurant, you don't have to like ask around, because that's like the weirdest thing. You're like, can I have something to level this table that should be level already? Like there should be something that like that sticks out of your shoe, or no, this isn't going anywhere. Patents.google.com. I can go and search there. Apparently, that has a worldwide patent search. I'm gonna look for your thing right now. Well, I'm gonna look for it after. How about that? Thank you guys very much for showing up to this awesome, beautiful episode number 19. I am actually, despite my exasperation. There you go. I was thinking like, does that exacerbate? No, exasperation of the consistency that we talked about at the beginning. I'm actually making the move to extract the audio from these. Add a little bit of intro, outro, so we can still have a lot of fun on the live stuff, and then we can kind of kick it over, and it goes through a website that distributes it to the whole iTunes verse, and kind of repurpose the content that we have. We basically, at this point, have 19 episodes in the bag, and I think if I repurpose them and put some audio to them and put it out as an actual distribution, this could be actually a pretty cool thing.
Awesome.
So looking forward to that, and looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Good luck over the next 2 weeks, Matt. Building up a little bit more of the Batman vs. Superman and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Brian's coming in 2 weeks, so we'll see how that works. Until then, see you guys next week, and have a good night.
Thanks a lot.